right, guys, welcome to today's FFL Limitless Agency Call. Just went through a ton of announcements. We just had a record week 1 of April, and it looks to be another record month. A lot of new agents making their first sales, protecting their first families. And today we have 3 very special guests, top 1% in the whole life insurance industry, maybe 0.01% actually, with these 3 heavyweights on here. So we're super fired up. Easton, Patton, Shadi, and Rob, thank you guys for getting on. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you having us.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate you.
We're super excited for this one. We're going to bring the heat today, you guys. Everyone's looking forward to it.
If we can get started first, let's start Easton with you, then Shadi will go to you, and then Rob. If you can just quickly, everyone knows who you are for the most part on our team, but we're going to put this on YouTube. So if you guys can just introduce yourself, how long you've been in the industry, how long with FFL, and your record number of families protected in 1 calendar year.
Sweet. So I've been here 4 years in the industry and 4 years at FFL. It's the only place I've ever done insurance. And then my biggest family's help year is 940.
Huge.
Shadi.
My turn. Okay, so I have been in the industry been about 2 years, and my biggest family help about 1380.
1380.
I shorted you before. I apologize, bro.
Yeah, you broke my heart, but it's okay.
Gets to be so much, you just lose track. I'm like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. It'll be 2,000 soon, I'm sure. Rob.
Let it go. Let it go.
Crazy. So I've been with the company for 4 years. I guess Easton, you and I came on right around the same time, which is cool. I didn't even realize that. And then right around 1,000 families.
Wow.
Amazing.
You guys, there's a lot of premium on this screen right now.
All right. So we're going to open up the chat here, guys. I have a couple that you guys already sent in. If you guys want to just drop them in just in the regular chat, not even the Q&A, we'll get those started. But we're going to go in order, same way, Easton, Shadi, and then Rob. And so Easton, I'm going to start off with some phone objections. And the first one's going to be you call a client and immediately, how long will this take?
I just say, hey, it should take about, 10, 15 minutes, depending on your questions. I want to respect your time and answer everything that you've got for me. So if you can just, settle in for like 10, 15, I'll rip through it pretty quick.
I don't have time for this right now.
Cool. I don't have a whole lot of time either. As I mentioned right away, I've got to do this like 14 different times today. So either you got a 10 to 15 minute gap now, or I try to find out as soon as possible, are you guys still working? If you're retired, why are you not free right now? Are you picking up the grandkids? Like, I just want to know why they don't have time so that I can redirect. Cool. I don't have a ton of time. So if now doesn't work, all good. What's the latest that you're typically wrapped up from your day? Because that's just like a generic way to find out a timeline.
Money.
I love it. All right, Shadi. We're gonna start on the easier side and then ramp up a little bit harder. So first one,
You're picking on me, aren't you?
I already got this taken care of.
Perfect. I'm the local manager, supposed to go over the info with you, make sure they got up-to-date coverage, man. You still have 1, 2, 3 minutes, is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, it's about 10, 15 minute appointment. We just can go over the info, see, make sure that you got up-to-date coverage. So I'm gonna be there tomorrow. I have a 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. which will work best for you.
Money.
Love that. Just back and taking control.
All right, Rob. Rob, I know you love this one, bro. I never filled anything out. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? You might be like me and your wife fill that out for you. Rather than call her, let me just verify the information real quick here and I'll have you right off the phone.
I like that.
Money.
Easton. Hey, I just talked to somebody last week.
Thank God, that makes my job significantly easier. Did you guys end up getting the green light and your policy out in the mail yet, or where are you guys at?
I think that we got something. I don't know.
Okay, sweet. Why don't you do this for me, Hayden? Can you snag that really quick? And I can just do a quick run through. I can update everything. And obviously, I'm sure you're tired of getting called. I'm tired of calling you. It'll just make it easier for both of us. Do you mind grabbing that real fast so I can update your stuff?
It hasn't even got here yet. I think it was like that company, America, and it was, I don't know, $100 a month.
All right, well, why don't we do this? Are you still working full-time, retired, disabled, blah, blah, blah? What's the latest that you're typically done tomorrow? Because I'm gonna be right around the corner from you in the evening.
Got it.
And then I'll just pick a time and lock them in.
Perfect. Shadi, hey, I can't afford anything. I'm not working. I'm low income. I can't afford anything.
With all the, that's in home or it's on phone?
Either one.
All right. So with all due respect, I mean, I see you have a cable here. I don't know why would you prefer your cable over your family here. Okay, the whole point of us doing this today is to protect your family, correct? Yes, perfect. Well, at this point, why would do one of two things? You're paying extra money toward the cable now for channel they don't even use. So let's go ahead and set this up today. Call your cable company tomorrow and make sure you drop that cost down by taking some of those channels down. That way you can afford this and you can afford your entertainment.
Love that. What if it was over the phone?
Same thing. Because
Love
I already built a report in the beginning with, right? So I already know what their expenses is like. There's what they're spending on cable, what they're spending on internet, what they're spending on car payments. So now I'm using all that as an ammunition against them.
I love that. That's my favorite. I love when they're like, when you're in their house and they're smoking cigarettes, you see like an ashtray, there's cigarettes and they're like, I can't afford this, but they spend $500 on cigarettes a
I
month.
call them out every time. So
Every time. I love that.
I don't doubt it. Rob, let's go with maybe it's an older person. Let's say like they're looking for a funeral final expense and you get them on the phone. Rob, I have so many medications. I probably can't even qualify.
You know, perfect. That's exactly why I'm calling. We're brokers, and I've never met a client that I haven't been able to help. So let me just verify a little bit of information here, and I bet you we'll be able to find a plan that'll not only fit your situation, but most importantly, your budget.
Money. Love that. Easton, let's go with, this will be going for you over the phone. Hey, I just don't want to share my information over the phone. I'm not comfortable.
Hey, all good. Do you have like a cell phone or access to internet really quick? Because I can just text you like a free, like a copy of my state ID, and then I can actually help you get online, and I'll help you get on Department of Insurance for Arizona, and we'll go through all the stuff to punch in, and then I can do a FaceTime video chat, send a picture of myself. Like I've got all this. You're like a lot of my clients, like they're a little bit worried because it is 2023. So we've got all these producer databases set up so that you can see I'm a real person and that this is what I do for a job. So do you mind grabbing like a computer or phone or something? I'll send this to you real fast. And then I just walk them through how to look me up, verify my ID. I'll literally FaceTime people especially if it's over the phone, just so they can like, hey, this is me. Here's my stuff. Here's my ID. Let's go.
Love it. That just reminded me. I think Rob's go-to is he does a FaceTime of him and his dog or something. Is that right? Yeah. Oh,
I don't think that's wrong.
Oh, you're cut out.
That's funny.
Shadi, can you guys hear me okay?
yeah, I can see you can hear.
Yep. Shadi, let's go with you get to the end of the application. Hey, I'm not giving my bank account information out until I know that I'm fully approved and I get the policy.
So Mr. Klan, remember when we said first, we're gonna do the first application. The first signature part will be your HIPAA authorization and driving history. And remember, once we put that in, I told you we're gonna go and link your bank account so you can start the payment, the order draft. Do you remember we covered that up front, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what's the holdup? You know, you gave me all the information, so I don't understand the holdup here. My question for you: you told me your family or your wife is the most important thing to you, correct?
Correct.
I think it's cutting off there. It's frozen.
I got you still, Shadi.
No, we got you, Shadi.
With that, can you guys hear me? We
Yes.
good?
Yep.
I think it was frozen for a second.
Yeah, you're good now.
Perfect. So you told me your family is the most important thing to you, correct?
Correct.
And you know, we covered the fact that they're gonna be auto draft out of your bank account. You understand that, correct?
Yep.
And you do understand that if you're not approved, they're not gonna take any money out because it becomes illegal. We know that, correct?
Okay, makes sense.
So what's the holdup?
I love it.
Love that. What's the holdup?
You just hammer them.
That's money. Rob, I have one for you. It's an older person and you're getting them like $10,000 of coverage or $5,000 of coverage for $200 a month. And it just financially, it doesn't make sense. They're like, hey, well, I can, I can go out of pocket for this. Why would I pay that $250 a month for that low of coverage?
Well, I'm going to ask them a question. If you can pay that out of pocket now, why are we talking? And I'm gonna do I'm gonna ask as many follow-up questions as I can so they can give me some ammunition. It might take 2 or 3, 4 follow-up, but typically when I get into those positions, it's like we're on the phone for a reason. So rather than get combative, like, dude, I love how Shadi's such a bulldog. I never was able to get away with that kind of stuff. I was always trying to take the path of least resistance with clients by them giving me as much ammunition as I possibly could have. So it wasn't like I was coercing them into something that, maybe they weren't fully on board with. Shadi, I'm not saying you're doing that. It works for you. For me, I'm going to ask like, so why are we talking now? Well, I was just shopping around. Well, have you spoke to any other agents before? Yes. What have they told you? Same thing as you're telling me. Well, if we're all telling you the same thing, let me look and see if there's other options that we can get creative with. Maybe if it's not 250, maybe we can get it down to 200, but we have to be realistic. You're 82 years old and you've had a heart attack, so our options are going to be limited. Also, if we can get you an immediate same day death benefit, if we're coming out of pocket for $250 a month per se, that's $3,000 a year. Well, the life expectancy on a healthy person is 82 years old. You're right there at the end of it, and you're taking medications, you've been treated for things that shorten that lifespan. Technically, in the insurance company's eyes, you're past that already. And you got a $10,000 benefit here. You should be thanking them for issuing you the policy, because the likelihood of you being able to pay this out of pocket or paying this monthly, saving this money, you're not going to live another 3 or 4 years. I hate to say it, but I need to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear you're going to live forever and blah, 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 blah. We get this to you for $5 a month, whatever it is. That isn't reality. The reality is that this is expensive insurance. But the other side of this is that likely when something's going to happen, it's going to be a year and a half down the road. And there's no way you would have paid into this as much as it's worth. So this is a good decision. Now, again, like I said earlier in the presentation, we need to qualify for this. And you're making my job a little more difficult than somebody who maybe isn't taking some of these medications that you are. So let's start an application to see if we can, number one, qualify, and then we'll revisit the affordability after we get a tentative approval. Does that sound fair?
Smooth.
That was so good, bro.
So smooth. I love that.
That was so good. Easton, let's go with.
Give Easton the hardest one we have on there.
I'm gonna try to find this one. Here we go. This is somewhat difficult. Let's say you have someone age, let's say 20 to 30. Maybe they're not married yet, maybe no kids. They filled out a form, whether it was, mortgage, instant life insurance, whatever. And they basically are like, hey, yes, I did fill it out, but I don't have any dependents. Why do I need this? I'm not going to die anytime soon.
Yeah, dude, that's a huge living benefit sale. So I just start walking them through, and this could even be like a small IUL. Like, hey, then if nothing else, don't do it for anyone else, do it for you. Like, have your own back, protect yourself a little bit, build some supplemental cash into your retirement. Dude, it doesn't have to be $1,000 a month, but if their single expenses are, normal, like, what are you going to put aside, 100 or 200 or 500, whatever that number is? I'm just like purchasing living benefit, death benefit, potential cash when they hit a certain age bracket. So I start explaining, dude, what would happen if you got so sick that you could never work again? What would that look like for you long-term financially? And I want them to explain to me what they would do if they could never go and physically pick up a check again. Yeah. So that's like big living benefit sale. Again, selling themselves on doing this selfishly. Like, dude, build yourself some cash, protect yourself a little bit if you get sick. Here's a few reasons how you could use it and why. Don't overspend, but give yourself a little bit of a break if something crazy happens to you.
Yeah. IUL, living benefits, cash back. It makes a ton of sense.
Yep.
All right, Shadi, this one someone submitted, and it's funny, but you will hear it. I'm sure you've heard of it. And I'm asking you because it's going to be the best response out of all three of you guys. Shadi, someone says, whatever their beliefs are, whatever the situation is, I'm never going to die. I'm never going to die. I'm going to live forever. I'm never going to die.
And Mr. Klein, with all due respect, I'm going to be very direct and honest with you. Okay. It's not you. We all going to die at some point. Okay. There's two things real in life: taxes and death. Right. And it's not a matter if it's a matter of when you're going to use this policy. And as far as my established here with you, you both been married for about 40 years, where I established that you love your wife to death. And now let me ask you a question. What's holding you back exactly? I mean, you're paying X amount of dollar towards your cable, you're paying X amount of dollar towards your Tesla outside, you towards your Harley, but you're not doing that towards your, to protect your wife, knowing that she have no income and you do. It's just not making sense. So usually that's when I stare at her and like, ma'am, he died yesterday. What would you do today? And he tried to talk. I'm like, sir, no disrespect, but dead people don't talk. Ma'am, what would you do? And that's when she jumps in, nah, I don't know. I'm like, okay, why don't you grab me your checkbook so we can get this started?
Boom.
Perfect.
Shadi, you're a savage. I love it.
You got to sometimes.
What was it?
Rob, let's do this one for you. Someone typed it in twice. And so let's say someone says, they're going to bury me in the backyard. They're going to dump me in the ocean. I don't need it. Something like that.
I'm gonna ask you this one. I'm reading it like because it's popping up. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm gonna say to that person. So if I'm on the phone, I'm probably hanging up. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If I'm in front of someone, it's gonna be a different story. So rebuttal number one is I'm hanging up. But in person, I'm like, so here's the thing with that. Do you really think your family is gonna just dump you in the ocean? Like, are they gonna? Okay, if they don't want to bear, I'm gonna be laughing with them at them a little bit because it's just so silly that they're saying this. Like, I'm okay. Who's in charge of handling your final arrangements? Just throw a name out there. We can make this real. So, like, who's doing it, Hayden? Who's handling?
My wife, I guess.
Are you really digging a hole in the backyard and putting him in there like he's a dog?
No.
No. What do you want to do?
Well, I want to make sure that I don't have to do that.
Hayden, would it be accurate to say that when Nina's happy, you're happy?
Accurate.
I don't think she wants to bury you in the backyard, dude. So what if it sounds like maybe this is a budget issue? So if this is a budget issue, let's put together a couple of options that are affordable. So if $75 a month is a little too expensive, let's look at something that's closer to $50 a month. Look, you're not trying to have a Michael Jackson funeral. Obviously, you're not. You were talking about burying you in the backyard. So we don't need to do something with all the bells and whistles. National averages in Scottsdale right now, you can probably get one done for about $6,500. Pine Box is okay. It's better than just throwing you in a hole in the backyard. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Would it make you more comfortable so that you would have the option when something happens to Hayden, so you don't have to bury him in the backyard? So at least you have the choice financially to do something a little bit more traditional.
Yeah.
Well, let's run through some options here and see if you can qualify. Does that sound fair?
Boom. That was money. Easton. That's a little bit out of budget for me. My kids have already told me they're going to get this taken care of for me.
Got it. And Nina, what were you saying that your kids do for work again? And then this is when I regain complete control of that objection. So like, hey, my kids mentioned that they're probably going to take care of it. Cool. Tell me about them a little bit. Where do they live? What do they do for work? Do they have kids? Do you truly think, even if your kid has money, if that's 10, 15, 20 grand, is that where they would want to direct their own hard-earned saved money, especially if they've got their own family? So yes, maybe they said they were going to take care of it for you. Is that truly what you want for them? Your last gift to them when you pass is going to be, hey, I appreciate the 10, 20, 30 grand to put me into the ground. And that's the last thing that they think of when you go. Like, why don't you just do this? Let's do something small. It doesn't have to be 50 grand, but like, 2, 3, 4, 5 grand, 10 grand, something is always going to be better than nothing. So why don't you just do like a little bit of your part? And then if they want to handle the difference because they're doing something crazy, all good, but at least a little bit of help is, I'm assuming that's why I'm here. And like, that's kind of how I would proceed gently.
That was really good.
Can I comment on something?
Yes.
A line that's always worked really good for me for everybody on this call, and I hope that y'all picked up on this. 3 words that are like magic words. Let's do this. Let's just do this. People just go with the flow because they like to be told what to do, like in a respectful way. And they don't want to be the ones to say, let's do this. They want you to say, let's do this. Because they're not just going to say, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Let's do it. Easton has so much control just with his word tracks, that they're not even feeling the control because it's just like embedded in your words. So just for the new people, those 3 words, let's do this, works really well.
Love it.
that. Let's
Awesome.
Shoddy, let's go here. Scroll up real quick. I saw a good one. Shoddy, let's go with my current job already supplies it. I already have it through work.
Perfect. Do you understand the difference between group insurance and private insurance, my friend?
No, I think
No?
my company has really good policies.
Yeah, they do. I bet they do. That's because they want to keep you. So it's more for their benefit, not yours. You know that, right?
Oh, really?
So at this point, you quit your job. You're not gonna, or you get fired, or retire, or whatever happens. You lose that benefit. You're not gonna be able to keep it. And I assume I'm here, and we're booking an appointment to actually help you with your private insurance, not your group plan, right? And we're gonna make sure put something that you actually own, an asset that you actually own, not something that your job owns at any time they can pull it away from you. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
All right. So let's go get this started for you and see what we can do for you and get your qualification going. Do you have your ID for me very quick?
Yep. Solid.
Dang, that was smooth.
Let's see.
Older person, Rob, older person, not in the best health situation, is dying to get $1 million of term, will not settle for anything else.
Okay. How old?
77.
77. Okay, that changes it. I understand that you want $1 million, Nina, but what's the purpose of that? What are you looking to accomplish with the money that you're leaving your family?
You know, I have 7 kids. I want to make sure I leave enough behind for them and my grandkids, and I have some debts that I would like for them to pay off.
How much is something that would make what? Oh, sorry. What did you say? You said you wanted to leave something for them, or did you use a different word there?
I wanted to leave some behind for them and then them to take care of some of the debts I have.
Okay, cool. Break that down for me. What does leave some behind mean? What's the amount that, like, in your head right now, knee-jerk reaction, how much per kid?
You know, 10, 15, 20,000, and then whatever to pay my debts behind. I have a large debt of 100,000.
So Nina, what I'm hearing right now is that 70,000 for including all the kids plus 100,000 is 170,000. Not $1 million. Where's the other 830 coming into play?
You know, just extra.
Just extra. Do you think, if somebody asked you, do you think you did okay in life?
I think so.
Did your family leave you $1 million to do it?
No. Mm-mm.
Do you think your kids would be okay if they didn't get $1 million each?
I think so.
They'd be okay if they didn't get $250,000 apiece?
Probably.
I mean, what you're telling me right now is not adding up to $1 million. So what I want to talk to you about, Nina, is what you qualify for, number one. If I could give you $1 million of insurance for free, I would be the first person to give that to you. Unfortunately, based on your age and medications, we're not going to be able to do that. Even in perfect health, I don't think I could, in good conscience, sell you something that would cost you more than your mortgage payment a month. Okay, so I just want to get on the same page with you and show you what you qualify for that I think you could wrestle with financially every single month to be able to leave that benefit to your kids. And then I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions that are going to get you hopefully on board with saying that $10,000 a kid, maybe another $10,000 for each grandkid. And is it really $100,000 of that? And I don't have a full financial inventory here, but I'm going to start picking that apart. And what I'll likely do then, and then what I'll do is then I'll build out a budget. So what's your income? You're on a fixed income, you're on $1 million medications, and you want $1 million of coverage. Well, that just isn't happening. So in my head, I'm going to then try to figure out a way to say, look, Nina, what you really need to do is just not leave the financial burden of your final expenses to your kids. So we're going to go from $1 million to probably 12,500.
Yeah.
We're going to do about 10 minutes by talking through financially what it'll look like. I'll even run $1 million of fully underwritten on a 40-year-old preferred rates to be like, even this is not in your budget. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about is where you're at. So I think we can agree that rather than making your kids rich, Nina, if we can just prevent them from being in a bad spot financially, that could be our number one objective. Is that fair?
Love that. Rob,
Let's see.
I love how you ask so many questions. Like you're trying to get as much info as possible. And you're also in a way talking them out of what they're even saying, which is amazing. So love that.
All right, Easton, you're gonna like this one. So this one's very common, especially if you're running final expense, if you're running, internet leads. And so let's say you come across someone that can be, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever. And they say, hey, I think I'm good. I'm a veteran, the VA or the government has it covered.
Dude, I will literally just get right on the VA website and I'll pull it up and show them like, hey, this is on the VA website. Unless you have some kind of like personally owned policy that you can get and show me, you get $850, you get a headstone and you get a plot of dirt. Like they're not going to just quote unquote take care of you, which means they don't leave all of your income behind to your family for no reason. They don't give you guys 40, 50 grand to take care of this stuff. It's very clear on the VA website exactly what you guys are going to get. So I'll just show them that and then walk them through it and then say, so when you guys initially sent this over, assuming that the VA was going to take care of it, what were you looking for in addition? Because we're only over having this conversation because there was a request sent in, even if they thought the VA had them for 40, when you knew you had that, and then you were like, life insurance, I could use some of this stuff. And you sent it to me, what were you looking for to add? And then if we can subtract them from not actually having insurance, and now we're just on the same page with like, let's figure out what we can get you the green light on.
Money. And something else to note, guys, typically, maybe not even typically, I think all the time, if they were not honorably discharged and there's like something weird that they got out, they usually don't have that benefit. It's just going to be for basically veterans, essentially in good standing. So that's important. Shadi, for you, let's go with, we go through the whole thing. It makes sense. I'm healthy, budget looks good, everything. And I say, hey, Shadi, this looks really good. Thanks for your time. Let me think about it and get back to you, in a couple of days, couple of weeks.
All right. Mr. Client, I'm going to share a couple of things with you here. And if you remember, you and I in the beginning of the appointment here, I told him I'd be very direct and honest with you, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So you've been thinking about this for 55 years. Yeah. You thought about it when you're 40, you thought about it when you're 42, you thought about it again when you're 45. You're still thinking about it when you're 55. It's not just not making sense. And you're going to be like one of those final expense clients who only can qualify for $10,000 because you can afford your $100,000 policy. Yeah. So at this point, my job is simple, man. I'm going to go and get you qualified because your family is important to you. And now that became important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and get this qualification going. We're going to need your voided check. We can get this started for you. You have 30 days to think about it. I really hope that you make your mind. You understand that this is important. This is more important than your cable, more important than anything else you might have, because this is something that your family will not be able to enjoy when you actually pass.
Dang.
I can see why you sell a bunch, bro.
Hey, you should let Rob touch on that one too. Because I think the think about it or like go through my budget one, that's probably going to be like one of the heaviest ones that we get the most.
I agree.
So Rob, do you have like, I'm interested in another angle on top of that too, because I think this is a big one.
It just takes such a different, first of all, I feel like I always have to say this when I make a comment about what Shadi does, because you sell so much more insurance than I did. So yeah, obviously what you're doing works really well. I just take such a different perspective on it. So like, I want to think about it a ton because I would proactively beat it down like throughout the presentation. So I had a pretty good feeling of whether or not this was going to be a waste of time. After about 5 or 6 minutes of like going into the pitch and running through a presentation, I would have a commitment, from the practice company that we all were part of. There was like that commitment not to wait. Where it's like the options we're going to go through today are very simple. They're going to make sense or they won't. They'll be affordable or they won't be. But once I go through everything and I answer all of your questions, this is going to be crystal clear to you whether or not it makes sense. If it does, we're going to go ahead and submit an application with the underwriters. And if not, we won't do anything at all. Fair enough. So like I would always say that paragraph before I went into the two options that I would pick. So leading up to that point, though, I would, when I was selling the most, I was in home doing mortgage protection. So I'd build a little bit of rapport, and then I would just straight up point blank say, tell me a little bit about what you're looking for. And whenever they told me, I would say, perfect, that's exactly what this is going to do. And I would gear my presentation to whatever they said they wanted it to be. I want death benefit, cool. And by the way, there's living benefits. I want living benefits, cool. And by the way, if you die, this is going to pay out too. So no matter what they said, I was always going towards the path of least resistance. And then I'm doing, does that make sense? And that's what you're looking for, right? And nodding my head and bobbleheading a lot. Even over the phone, people can hear a bobblehead. So the way that you say things and just the approach that you can take can corner them into them telling you earlier on in the presentation if they're going to think about it or if they're actually going to make a decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
100%.
Love
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I have a sense as well. Like the first couple minute or two, I can tell if they're gonna be one of those they're going to waste my time. And one of the things I do is I let them know up front what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna need. So that if they have an objections of I'm not gonna give my account information or I'm not gonna do this, at least they give it to me up front and I can overcome it right then and there. Than trying to go through the whole presentation and then I'm not giving my information.
Love that. I just love that there's so many ways of doing it. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's the best thing ever. Easton, let's hear yours to the same objection.
Well, anytime somebody gives you the time, especially if you well structured and established like what's going to take place during the appointment. Dude, I stole this when I was probably like a year and I heard some dude train on it. And he was like, whenever I get the time objection, I just asked like, hey, if I could track down this mirror image identical product for $1, would you guys feel more comfortable moving forward? I'm like, well, obviously it's $1. Cool. So it's less that you need time and more that we need to make a financial adjustment so that it's a little bit easier on the budget. So let's do this. And then you literally just do the decrease if you need to. Obviously, you don't want to lead with the decrease, but as soon as they give you time, it's about money. And if you can take that away, where it's like, okay, if it was $1, would you do it? Yes. Cool. So it's less that you need time to think and more that we need to change the price because that's really what their objection is. And so then you can start, doing a down sell and still picking up a check and getting to close and getting them insurance.
Love that. Let's do this one, Shadi. If you get through the quote process and they still don't want to go forward with it. So you show them the quotes, they look at them, they say, hey, that sounds great. I just really, really still need to think about this.
So normally I don't get that much, I don't get through that much often just because I already told them that we're running it through and I don't give them a code unless we run the HIP authorization first.
Boom. Okay.
So if they're not giving me social security up front, I'm not giving them a code.
Okay.
And that's my approach normally. I'm just very, very blunt with it. But.
Okay. I like that. Getting it done, just knocked out from the start. What about you,
Yeah,
Rob?
Say that where you give them a quote and then they're like, I want to think about it after the quote.
And I'm just going to say something real quick. If you're a new agent, what Shadi's talking about is, America, most of them, but America is the easiest. When you start the app with basically their basic information, name, address, social, all that kind of stuff. The next page is going to be the HIPAA authorization to basically see if they're healthy enough. So that's why he's doing that, because let's say someone gets declined for it, doesn't really make much sense to sell them hard on it when they're just going to get declined.
And then at that point, they already gave them the social, so they're going to give the bank account. They're going to give it.
And one more thing, can I add one thing to that very quick? I never give quotes. What I normally do is I keep it at about 5% of their income. Whatever their income is, then we can use 5% of that toward the budget. So hey, hey Nina, what's you guys' income right now? My income is I don't know, whether it's an IUL, whether it's prosperity, whatever it is I'm saying, depending on their age, of course. But if I'm sitting with them, that's how I'm coming up with like some bunch of big premium. Like your income is $1,000, $1,000 a month. We're looking at $50. 2,000, we're looking at $100. 3,000, we're looking at 150. Whatever is your income, 5%, that's gonna go toward the insurance.
So you only show one. You're always only showing 5%. So say I'm like, dude, that's like so expensive, like I can't do it. Are you down closing at that point?
If you build enough value in it, then you don't have to. For example, if somebody like healthy or someone like, where I start selling the cash value aspects, I start selling the lifetime income advantage, and start selling a little bit of the living benefit side of things. it's not expensive anymore. So if when you approach something like that, I'm like, all right, so what we're gonna do, you get 5% of your income, which is gonna be about $250 a month. What that's gonna cover is gonna cover your $100,000 death benefit in the event if you die. It's gonna cover $80,000 in the event of you catch any critical terminal chronic. And I specify each one, like this is in case of cancer, heart attack, blah, blah, blah. This in case of any diseases. This in case of doctor gives you X amount of time to live. Once I specify that part, like also it's gonna build cash value where you can take loans against it as you need to, which is the second thing. So it's basically building equity that you can actually withdraw money from it. So this will be your house value, this will be your equity, right? And I do that as well. And then the third thing that it's only 5% of your income, so it's really not that bad. So now we're just gonna use that 5% for income. We can put this through for an approval and see what we can get back from it. Okay.
Dude, you make me want to buy a life insurance policy right now.
It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy what I do.
That is awesome.
Rob, let's finish off with let's go with your number one tip for just your presentation.
You got to be super assumptive and ask a lot of good questions. The more you say, the higher the likelihood is that you're going to say something stupid and give them a reason to not buy from you. And that's a struggle that a lot of new agents have, is when they get uncomfortable with silence, they just start saying things. But one of the most powerful things you can do in a presentation is not say anything at all and let people think on it for 1, 2, 3 count. You got to be comfortable with silence in a presentation. It shows confidence and it has a lot of control. So if you're asking questions and people don't answer it right away, be okay with not saying anything for a few seconds and let them process what you're asking. And they'll probably give you a more thoughtful answer that you can really use to help in the close or use against them when they're rebuttaling against you. And just confidence is key. People can smell timid salespeople from a mile away. And then lastly, I always try my hardest to get out of the salesperson role and into the person role. So the less salesy I am, the better. And questions really help with that because you're talking less and listening more.
Rob, what's your favorite tie-down question?
I would say one of 2, and that's what you're looking for, right? And people are really good at lying to you, but they're bad at lying to themselves. So if they say yes and they say it, you ask them a question, they answer whatever it is, they get convicted in whatever they're telling themselves. So I try to ask as many questions to get them to buy into it themselves. So then I don't have to convince them to be bought into whatever I'm saying. So that's what you're looking for, right? And that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, those 2.
Money.
Love it. Write that down, guys. That's one of the best questions you can ask someone. Does this make sense? Over and over and over again. Easton, for you, what is your number one tip for a good presentation?
Simple structure, dude. As long as the people know like what the process is that's going to take place. Like, hey, here's what my job is. You saw the ID. You've already got a why out. Now you just need to move into some structure. So my job is super easy. I'm just going to ask you, they gave me this sweet little suitability sheet. I'm literally just going to ask you what's on it, and I will show them, age, income, house, health, current insurance. And then I just shop the country to see what you're going to match with. Once we find a company, you're going to design your own insurance amount. So whether it's $5,000, 50 or 500, you get to build that out exactly tailored to you. I just help you find the company. Once we've got company, amount of insurance, and you're all good to go with what you want to pay, my job is to just make sure that you get the thumbs up from the insurance company. So that's when I do the application with you and make sure it comes back good. Does that sound easy enough? That structure piece is what I didn't know how to do when I was new. So they're like, why are you asking me for all this stuff and doing an application? Like, you just got to tell them when you're new, like just tell them what's going to happen. And that'll like solve a lot of your, issues of them being so confused all the time.
Money.
Shadi, bring us home, bro. Number one tip for your best presentation.
Very, very similar to Easton. Just, be more for telling than asking in presentation, because if you ask the question, it's always going to be no. But if you just tell them on what you're going to do, it's going to happen, right? You get few objections here and there, but you have to remember your doctor-patient mentality, and you're the doctor, they're the patient. You don't see a doctor and tells you, hey, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and which one make more. No, just straight to the point. Be more of a problem solver than just insurance agent. You go in there, you define what the problem is and solve it. by actually giving them the right product, the right policy that's going to protect their family in the event of their death.
I
That
love
was good.
So
Problem solver.
asking good tie down questions for Rob and listening. Easton keeping it simple, and Shoddy just freaking crushed that in the end of this call. So thank you guys so much for getting on. Lots of value. There's a lot of stuff in here. So we're gonna put this on YouTube here in the next couple of days. Make sure you guys listen to this over and over again. These guys are three of the best in the whole industry. Thank you guys. Really appreciate you guys getting on.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Bye.